And now I'm going to tell you a story that is going to show us how HaShem fulfills the blessings and the promises that He makes. Do you guys ever hear of Rabbi Ovadia?
Of course.
Ovadia Yosef? You guys heard about Ovadia Yosef?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. You know Rabbi Ovadia Yosef used to also be very, very poor. So poor that when he first got married, they lived in a little room. They didn't have a bedroom. They had a little room, they had a table, and anytime somebody would come to study Torah with Rabbi Ovadia, the Rabbanit and the kids would have to hide under the desk, under the table. They would have to sit there under the table and wait for Rabbi Ovadia to finish with his reading. They had a table cover that would cover the whole table all the way to the ground, and the Rabbanit would sit there under the table with the babies. And everybody was very quiet, like you guys, quiet, waiting for Rabbi Ovadia to finish with his meeting, to finish with his study. He was studying with different people. He was very, very poor. He couldn't pay for a big house and many rooms and things like that. All he had was one room and one table and two chairs. That's it. That's all they had. Very simple. But the Mishnah in Masechet Avot says, anyone who learns Torah through the difficulties, through the distractions of, when someone is poor with time, or poor with health, or poor with money, or poor with anything, where they have difficulties, and they still study Torah, and a lot of Torah, during that time, Hashem will eventually bless them to be able to study Torah to be rich. And what happened with Rabbi Ovadia is that he continued to learn Torah, even though it was very, very difficult, even though it was very, very poor. And eventually, Rabbi Ovadia, when he published his first book, people were so amazed at his wisdom of Torah that they publicized the book everywhere. Even the people that were not keeping Torah and mitzvot were impressed. They gave him an award, a national award, recognizing how they have such a gaon living among them. And little by little, Rabbi Ovadia became more and more famous and a bigger and bigger leader until he eventually became the Rishon LeZion, the chief rabbi of all of Am Yisrael, the Maran, and to the point where all of the Sephardic Jews around the world, when they want to know what's allowed, what's not allowed, they look at what did Rabbi Ovadia say. What did Rabbi Ovadia say? So he became rich with Talmidim. He became rich with Sfarim. He became rich with Torah, and even became rich with money. Eventually, not only he didn't need only one room. Eventually, he had the whole floor in the building. The whole floor in the building, that was his house, full of Sfarim. All of the walls were full of Sfarim. So he became very rich too. Why? Because that's what Hashem promised. Because he overcame the obstacle and he didn't become jealous of other people like Zimri, who became jealous of Moshe Rabbeinu. He didn't go and sin and do bad things because things weren't like what he liked, like Zimri did. No, Rabbi Ovadia was like Nachshon ben Aminadav. He knew that this is a test. He continued to learn and publicize Hashem's name, and Hashem rewarded him both in this world and the next. And this, my little tzadikim, we see that sometimes it's easy for us to learn Torah. We all feel good, we have a lot of time, it's fun, but sometimes it's harder to learn Torah. Sometimes we don't feel good, sometimes there's distractions, sometimes there's all types of difficulties. If somebody wants to be a big tzaddik, they have to be the one that learns Torah and fulfills the Torah and does what Torah says, no matter what. Even when it's difficult, even when they don't feel good, even when there's people telling them, don't do it, we don't listen to them. We go and we listen to the Torah, and BeEzrat Hashem will reward us. Zakim Buchim, Hashem bless you, and BeEzrat Hashem will continue to grow in Torah and Maasim Tovim. Let's say, thank you to Hashem for the Shiur Torah. 1, 2, 3.
BeEzrat.